Hey, it's Anna, and I thought we would do a numerology today. It's been a long time since I've done one of those, and we're going to do Prince because he was trending on Twitter earlier this week. It was the anniversary of his death, and I just thought that his numerology is probably pretty interesting. So we're going to take a look at that. And Prince was his real name. Prince Rogers Nelson. This page had some purple bleed throughs, splatters on it, and I was gonna get a new page, but purple makes me think of him, so I just kept it. So Prince Rogers Nelson, and he was born June 7th, 1958. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Ooh, right away. A master number for his key, 11. The key represents how you view opportunities in life, and so Prince, with a key of 11, viewed opportunities as chances to really connect with people on a very deep and meaningful level, like on such a deep level that it could change people's lives. So every opportunity was a chance to make that connection with someone else and potentially change their life. Wow. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Sorry about my cat's noises, if you can hear them. Maybe Prince is talking to them. Do you ever wonder if cats can hear and see spirits? Because I do. All right, so So 11, 1, and 7. It's a total of 19. I love the number 19. I know we have to reduce it for numerology purposes, but 19 always speaks to me of fate and even karma, destiny. Do you want to see my tea message for today? There is pleasure in the pathless woods. This is green tea with dandelion. All right. So 19 we have to reduce to 10, which reduces to 1. Of course. I was expecting to see ones with Prince because he is such a good example of authenticity and independence and just doing whatever he wanted, exactly how he wanted to do it. So that makes a lot of sense. That's how he expressed himself, was, he's an independent entity. He acts alone. He acts on exactly what he wants to do. And it's not dependent on anyone else. And he just lives his life that way, as self-sufficiently as possible, or at least that's how he would express it. Okay, let's take a look at, let's do his life path while we're up here. So we have, 6, 7, and then that's 10, 23, 6, 7, 5, 18, which is 9. Okay, so life path of 9. It's nice to have that to balance out the 1. Independence is a great thing, and focusing on yourself is very important, but you want to have a balance of also being of kind of service to a community or helping people in some way. And 9, that's what 9 is really all about. 9 is a humanitarian number where you are doing things for other people, for the greater good of other people. And so even though he expressed himself as super independent, he was on this life path to make the world a better place and do what he could for other people as well. So I think that other people were probably still very important to him. Okay, let's see what his soul urge was. So we have I-E, O-E, E-O. Not many vowels. $36. 9 for a soul urge as well. Wow. So what I was just saying about the life path was what he really wanted out of life. He wanted to serve the communities and, bring great things to the table that would make the world a better place. When your soul urge lines up with your life path, this is like a nice alignment from the universe, is how I view it, because that means that what you really want out of life, you're on the path for already. So it's not going to take a lot of extra work to make what you want happen, because it's already been lined up for you. It's in the cards, as they would say, or in the numbers, as I would say. Wow. Okay, so let's look at the quiet self. Okay. $64, which is 10, which is 1 for the quiet self. Wow. And it would have to be 1 because these two have to add to be the expression. So 9 plus 1 is 10, which is 1. So I think that's a beautiful, like I said before, when we had just the 1 and the 9, and then we have the opposite here, a 9 and a 1, it's just a beautiful balance. And it's a good illustration of the fact that really you have to take care of yourself to be able to be of service to other people. So when he was alone, he was probably even more introspective and thinking about how he could improve himself than we even saw. Because I know I said his expression was very authentic, very independent, and there was probably even a deeper side to that we didn't even see. His probably relating also to his artistry and spending time by himself to really go inward and then see what he could express to everyone else, which was ultimately what he wanted and what he was on the path for in life. Wow, it's so beautiful. Let's look at his pinnacles and sub-challenges. So here I'm just gonna So his first pinnacle From these two numbers, 6 and 7 would be 13, which would be 4. And his first sub-challenge is the difference between them. So his first sub-challenge is actually 1. And this would have been from when he was born until 36 minus his life path, so until he was 27. So it's interesting that he has the sub-challenge of 1 when that is his expression and that is his quiet self. So I think during this first phase of his life, it was probably difficult for him to express himself the way that he truly wanted. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't quite see all of that. So I think it was a challenge for him to fully be his authentic self during that first phase of his life. But sometimes it's good when you have a challenge like that that lines up with something that you're meant to be expressing, because it allows you to really iron out all of the difficulties that might arise with it, and then you're able to embrace it more fully after that. What's for sure is that he was a very hard worker, very dedicated from the beginning, because a pinnacle of 4 means that the best experiences are coming from things where you have overcome challenges, you have worked really hard, you have accomplished great things that you wanted to accomplish, and you've established foundations, because 4 is always like, makes me think of the foundation of a house, like the 4 sides of that square foundation. So he was a very hard worker and hopefully able to overcome the challenges that he faced with trying to express himself and with his independence. Without these 1s here too, like anytime you see a 1 as a sub-challenge, people pleasing can be something that the person is struggling with, because their independence is sort of a challenge at the time, and they might find themselves trying to do things that other people want and trying to please other people when you really just can't please everyone. So you have to focus on what you can do for yourself. Okay, let's see what happened next here. So for the second pinnacle, it's these two numbers, 7 and 5, which would be 12, which would be 3. And then the sub-challenge, again, is the difference between those two numbers, which would be 2. And this would have been from when he was 28 and for the next 9 years, so 28 to 37. With a pinnacle of 3, wow, that is a great time. That is all about just enjoying the simple pleasures in life, and anything that can bring you even the smallest amount of joy, those are the best experiences in that time, because that's what 3 is all about, just like enjoying life, being social, making good social connections with people, and like celebrating. That's what the number 3 makes me think of. And then his sub-challenge at the time, though, was a 2, which aligns a little bit with his key here of 11. The challenge maybe with celebrating and being like making a ton of connections is that there weren't any truly deep and meaningful connections being made, because 2 as a challenge speaks to challenges within deep connections and challenges within personal relationships. It can also be challenges with communicating efficiently. And I know that I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and sometimes it seems like the interviewer has a hard time because he keeps such a straight face, and so maybe people were criticizing him for not being as communicative as they wanted him to be. But he, through it all, his key is making those, he views opportunity to make the deep connections with people, so maybe he just was struggling with that a little bit during that time. Okay, let's see what the third phase has in store. So the third pinnacle comes from the first 2 pinnacles. So 4 and 3, that would be 7. And then the third sub-challenge comes from the difference between the first two sub-challenges. So 1 and 2, that'd be 1. So 1 comes back as a challenge. And this would be from 38 to 47. So for the next chunk. And a pinnacle, this is so interesting. Like his numbers, he has all kinds of different numbers showing up here. A 7 pinnacle is about your best experiences coming from, it could be spirituality, it could be some very introspective realizations, it could be discovering sort of the mysteries of life, so to speak. And yeah, 7 is a very creative, innovative, but mysterious and spiritual number. So I think like he starts off life working really hard, then he has this sort of celebratory phase, and then he like goes back inward and is discovering these super deep things, like what is the meaning of life for him, why is he here? And I think that's probably why maybe 1 became a challenge again, because when you learn new things like that, when you have some new realizations, your how you express yourself and what you think about yourself and how you're using that, I mean, for him, like in his artistry, that can change. So I think this was very much an evolving sort of phase for him, where he was learning a lot of deep things, but sometimes, you go down a rabbit hole and then other things become difficult again that maybe you thought you had conquered before, and then here they are back with more. So let's see how this ended up here. For the 4th pinnacle, we have these 2 outside numbers. 11. Oh, that's beautiful. And the sub-challenge, dang it, is the difference between these 2 numbers, which is still 1. And that would have been from 48 on. Sorry, you can't quite see that on. 48 on. I can't move the notebook because my tripod's right here, but so from 48 on, wow, that 11 pinnacle, that is just gorgeous that it comes into play in the end here. So every prominent number that he had a double. His expression was echoed in his quiet self, his soul urge echoed in his life path, and his key echoed in his final pinnacle. The best experiences in life during this time were coming from when he was able to do how he viewed opportunity the whole time, when he was able to make those deep and meaningful connections with people. Those were his absolute best times during this last phase. And unfortunately, 1 remains a sub-challenge, so it's possible that he still was dealing with expressing himself and dealing with his independence in some way. And that's, sometimes I thought this when I have watched footage of him, he makes it look so easy to just be who he is and be authentic. And maybe it's like, you can feel that way when you look at other people, like, wow, they make it look so easy. They're doing a great job of doing that. That must be easy for them. But maybe it's not. Maybe it is this sort of just ongoing, it was something that he worked on all the time. And that's why, it could seem that way to all of us. But really, it was something that he put a lot of time and effort into thinking about and dealing with challenges around. It also is possible that if you have a challenge come up more than once, if you have resolved it, especially when you have 2 in a row here. It's possible that he resolved it and then it really was no longer a challenge by this last phase, especially because he's having these amazing, master number worthy peak experiences where he's making these beautiful, deep connections with people. Then this might not have been a challenge anymore by that time. So could have gone one of 2 ways. But wow, I'm glad I saw some 1s because I was expecting to see those, and the 9s are so nice, like just to use, what you have to give to others, and then with an ultimate goal of making these great, powerful connections with people and connecting on a deep level. No wonder I always feel like I love him when I see footage of him. So I hope you enjoyed Prince's numerology. Much love to you all.